What's one of the most influential comic books of all time? It's this in my hand, Dark Knight Returns #1. But it's not for the reason you're thinking. This has nothing to do with the story, the characters, the Joker going crazy, killing everybody. It has to do with the format, the prestige format. And I want to showcase the format that this inspired in the other series and the other characters from both companies, Marvel and DC, that we have to pay attention to, because Dark Knight Returns was impactful. But there's some other good meat on that bone. So let's hit the drawing table. I just want to showcase some of my other favorite prestige format DC miniseries, and then we're going to segue into the other avenues of this format. Let's go. Let's have a look at the prestige format. Welcome to the stack, everyone. Guys, the prestige format is one of my absolute favorite types of comic book publishing. You guys know I'm a format junkie. You guys know this size alone. Everything, this size, okay? Do we need a ruler? Do we need a ruler? Let's just measure it with a brush. We need this size for comic books. We don't need any other size. The prestige format gives us superior printing, superior binding. The printing is required by the binding and vice versa. The way that the two work together in symmetry, it's publishing perfection. We have cardstock covers. We have the ability to print artwork in a way that we didn't get in regular comic books at the time. I'm just getting into these. These are Hellraiser Nightbreed, the Hellraiser Nightbreed Jihad from the worlds of Clive Barker. And I'm recently I cracked it open. These were in the bag. I bought them in. I kept them in the bag. So for this video, I was like, let me just showcase something new to me. I never laid eyes on this before. But if you think that the printing format isn't spectacular, and we're dealing with practical art, this exists on an artboard. It doesn't exist solely in the digital realm. Guys, my mind's slowly getting blown as I'm reading these. This is fantastic. But again, like, that's the power of the prestige format. So it's got nothing to do with the story, right? Like, sometimes the format comes first and then the story comes later. Sometimes Dark Knight Returns, something like Dark Knight Returns drops, and it's so impactful that publishers are like, we need more of this. We kind of like the price point. All systems are go. So previously on this channel, I profiled OMAC by John Byrne. We don't need the painting. We don't need the color. We can be black and white and have a page count that needs to be glued. Give it a little bit better of a tooth when it comes to, you guys can hear that. And because we're dealing with higher quality printing, because we have higher quality paper, these zipper-tones are not muddy. Did you guys ever realize that? A lot of zipper-tones bleed into the newsprint. This is what I consider to be one of John Burns' absolute landmark works. The way how he just reformats the idea of OMAC and kind of makes him a man out of the time. He does the Terminator, he does the Cable stuff. Guys, this is awesome. So in the vein of those Hellraisers that we just saw, we have Tom Veitch over here, who is an absolute weapon during this time. He brings us the Naz. The Naz is... I had this when I was younger. And I pretty much read this and I read Watchmen. Like, I kind of kept these underneath my bed. This is such an incredible looking series because of the prestige format. Again, one inspires... Dark Knight Returns inspired a format way before the story got solidified. You know, like the way how the Dark Knight Returns story got solidified into lore. This is one that I compared. This is only 3 issues. Howard Chaykin's Blood and Iron, Black Hawk, Blood and Iron. Just this one. You know, we have like Blackout over here. If we go with issue 1 of this, let me compare it to this. Guys, Black Hawk wins hands down. Black Hawk by Howard Chaykin is the absolute expression of the format. It's a singular vision on par with DKR. Here's the crazy thing. It's very rare when you read something, you actually like feel and believe the time that this exists in. Like you 1000% buy that this is from the 40s. Like 1000%. It's insane, right? If I were to choose one to reread, like let's just say I wanted one of these next to my drawing table for the rest of my life, I would pick Black Hawk over DKR. Sorry, DKR fans. You know why we believe that? Because we we read the books here, aka Powders. So let's get into company-wide events. You don't get any more true than Jim Starlin, Mike Mignola, Steve Olive over here. Cosmic Odyssey. Cosmic Odyssey, just to boil it down, Jon Stewart blows up a planet. He becomes somewhat of an exile amongst superheroes. Bug here gets owned. And then we have, who is it? Orion makes a comment and the Dark Knight socks someone. This, like, people always go, oh, the Dark Knight punch is when Guy Gardner gets punched by Batman. No. Right here. When Batman slugs Orion. Because Bug and the Dark Knight they do the impossible. And they spend all of this to build that up. And along the way, we have this relationship with Darkseid. It's just insane. As a publisher, if you wanted to show off the printing, the coloring, have more pages available for your story. This is a perfect use of the Prestige format. Period. Let's go independent. Previously featured on this channel was Kyle Baker's. I consider this. Guys, I've been doing a lot of the Alien work recently. I went back and forth with the Alien Walt Simonson adaptation. That's nothing compared to this effort. I'm even going into issue 3, which is the adaptation of the movie. But we have issue 2, issue 1, and issue 2. These are stories around the movie's universe. It's insane. Let me just here. Like, I want to get into some. See the roughness. You can see the artboard right here. Like, you know, like you guys can really just see where like some of those pastels are like digging in. We see that because of the Prestige format. We give Kyle Breaker room to breathe. So we have to bind it and we have to glue it. So again, the work itself dictates the format. Also previously profiled on this channel, and I'm a huge fan of this. People crap on these. Why do you crap on the Stanley Just Imagine? This is all I have. Here's the thing. When it comes to monetizing ideas, right? When we get into this era, when we get into like the 2000s, the mid-2000s, the Prestige format became a price point to move dollars. Because by this point, the digital printing is caught up. So we're not talking about the printing anymore. We're talking about binding, page count, and this is thinner paper. But we're selling these for $6 a piece. This is one, I absolutely love this one by Scott McDaniel. You guys know I'm a huge Scott McDaniel fan. I believe McDaniel's one of the most underrated guys that we've ever had in comic book history. So the prestige format becomes it's a publishing position. We can get $6 a piece for these, and we're going to do like 12 or 13 of them. That's what they did. These rolled out for a long time. This was one of the all-time comic book events. Nice backup stories, like the amount of talent, and they do their own crisis, so they kind of wrap things up. I love this. Here we go. Back to Chaykin and back to Mike Mignola. Fur the Moose, right? Fur Grey Musso. I love it. These are everywhere. They're cheap. I only have like 2 of them, 1 or 2, but I could only find 1. These were 4 issues. Epic Comics. Get yourself some of these. I need to complete this. I just want to show off a little bit of a whole. So, and then, as promised, we don't have much from Marvel when it comes to prestige format, but we have Black Panther Painter's Prey. Before we get into this, and let's just say we assume that the covers should be like better printed than the interior, right? Because again, listen, some nice card stock, right? So that card stock is going to take the ink on differently. Could be even a different quality of ink for the covers. And again, we're approaching this just from here. So we see the bind and we're like, great. Like we're going to get, you know, like 45, 60 pages. We're going to get like 3 issues in one. And then we go through it. And we see the power of the printing. I mean, look at this. So Marvel doesn't quite go this route, right? Like Marvel kind of goes more towards, I believe, and people feel free to fact check me. This looks like, issue 1 looks like it was intended as a Marvel graphic novel. And it got, the artwork gets even shrunken down even more, creating, like, making it more spectacular. I mean, like, look at this neck muscle right there. So by the time we get to issue 3 and 4, we're rendering the artwork in proper size. But we get a representation of the materials. And that's what prestige format does. It unlocks a little bit of a way that the book was put together on a production sense. And look at this final shot here. Still one of the all-time drawings shots by Dwayne Turner of Black Panther on this. Keep in mind, Dwayne Turner, he goes on to, he does what? Curse of Spawn. He does work with Todd McFarlane. He lingers around comics for a very long time, but he never kind of returns to this. And just to wrap it up, prestige format single one-offs. We need to sell an idea, so we need extra pages. We have to make it special. Let's get that price point going, right? These were $6 each. And we get guys like Simon Bisley perfectly represented with prestige format. Again, we want to talk about the printing. Look at the cityscape. Look at those hues. Look at that shading. We want things like this. This is what the true contribution is. And this one, jeez, like people don't talk about this stuff anymore. Prestige format unlocked a fantastic business practice for DC. It unlocked a new market. It unlocked a mature market, a higher price point. That's the true influence of the prestige format. It has nothing to do with Dark Knight Returns. Guys, I just wanted to share these with you. Sometimes I get an idea for like a vein. Just, like a general thought on something I just don't see a lot of right now. I cannot let you guys go so easily and get off the hook so easily. I just went crazy looking for these. I thought I was going to do my prestige format video without featuring Legion of Night, Steve Gerber, Wells Portacio. Remember, Steve Gerber too does work for Image and Top Cow. Scott Williams, Paul Mounts. This lineup here, this is one of the greatest lineups of the time. This is the best of the best. If you're not familiar with Legion of Night, I had this. When I was younger, when Wells Portacio showed up on Uncanny X-Men, to me, he was the Legion of Night guy. But we see, again, the power of the Prestige format. We're dealing with unglossed paper. Marvel does not gloss their paper. But again, we see the production. We see the coloring. We will profile this as a part of Wildstorm alumni, because we do have, this is essentially a Homage Studios production. Jim Lee and friends are all on this. This is mind-blowing, but only possible because of the format. So, oh, and also, shout out to Dane Panosian.